Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percitas Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you, your time and effort in finding me. And if you are new, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you today. All the OGs, you know the rules. Thank you so much for always continuing to support week after week. So here we are. We are super duper excited. Why are we excited? Because look, we're alive, and that is more than I can say for a lot of people. And I'm going to really hone in on how I feel about that today. And what that actually has given me in regards to my energy is just this idea that I have to do better with my time. You might say, well, what do you mean? I was talking to a friend, and I realized that we have a hard idea of once we start going, right? Like once you have gotten past the hump of whatever it is that you've been stagnant on or just maybe procrastinating, once you start moving, you almost beat yourself up to never stop. And what I'm starting to understand is like that is not only a ridiculous idea that we put in our heads, but it's unrealistic. And it puts us in a place to actually quickly go back into the idea of procrastinating because you then set yourself on sites that are just too many. Right? So you go from no sites to just too many sites. And today I want to really stop and ask you, are you really allowing yourself slotted times to work? You might say, okay, give it to me. Like, what are you saying? Well, you guys remember back in the day, I actually did a video, and the video was about when you wake up in the morning, you know, successful people, and I know that sounds seriously stereotypical, but hear me out. Successful people really don't take the time to grab their phone within the first hour of them being up. And you might say, well, why is that? Well, you know, look at it from the idea that if you instantaneously go into social media, social media platform, or just the idea of trying to figure out what everyone's doing, it really throws you off. I propose then, and I propose now, that you actually take the time to go and get an external alarm clock, especially if you need one. I'm not really an alarm clock type of a person that I necessarily needed, but I still went out and bought an external alarm clock. And I did that because for years I've used my cell phone as an alarm. And that perpetuated me still go through my social media platforms after I cut the alarm off. So of course that didn't work, and I'm sure it's not working for you. Even if you don't want to admit it, I know it's not. So get yourself an external alarm and don't touch your cell phone for at least the first 15, 20 minutes of you waking up. Just stop, assess, really think of the happiness that you opened your eyes and really be in a thankful place. Small meditation, affirmations, anything that you can start your day off with that's not social media based is fantastic. From that point, it's really important for you to have slated what it is that you're doing for the day. I'm the type of person that I slated the night before, so then when I wake up, I actually have an idea of what I'm doing. But what I noticed years ago is that I'm really not an afternoon working type of a person. So for the most part, I put all of my work that I'm going to do or that I need to execute between a certain parameter of hours. Now, each person that's listened to this video has to really stop and think when you're most productive, right? I'm also the type of person that for a plethora of years, I've always gotten up to work out. I still have noticed that that's just something that my body has grown acclimated to, and it seems to still be easier for me to do it. Although I don't wake up as early as I used to. My rest as I've gotten older is key. It keeps the skin glowing. It keeps my mentality and my anxiety and all those other things in check. And for many years, I would try to get by with, somewhere between 6.5 hours of sleep. Now, your girl is a solid 8, and I'm a solid 8 with unbelievable relaxing things that happen in my evening. We'll get to that. But what I still am telling you that I've noticed is that I really don't do as well, right? If I am trying to work throughout the entire day. So I slotted some time for me. So let's just say my hours of really getting efficiency done is between the hours of 7:30 and 1:30. That is when I know that I am really good. Now, that's funny because it's actually changed within the last year and a half. I used to really be able till about 3 to really be efficient. Right about 1:30, possibly even 2 is when I'm my most efficient. I can still answer small questions, emails, things like that up until about 3:30. But after that, your girl is done. There's absolutely nothing about me that wants to do any additional work. All of my colleagues know it. All of my contracts know it. It is just not going to work for me. Typically, I travel throughout the week. So with that even being said, I'm typically on a plane coming back and forth, and there's just no way for me to really get into work. I say this because a lot of us really try to do work throughout hours that are not our peak hours, meaning you're not at the best of your mindset or just your analytical side or your managerial side. And you really, really want to find a way to make that work for you. And you may think, well, I can just do it all day. And I don't have a life like that where I can kind of structure it. Maybe not. And if that's not the case, then, my apologies. But I would still say find something within your life that allows you to be as structured as possible. Even if we're talking about a person who has a standard 9 to 5 and your hours are pretty set and you have to get up and drop the kids off and so on and so forth. Really pay attention to when you are best in the day and really try to drill the ideas of what you need to do for the family, yourself, your children, etc. during those times. Otherwise, you'll beat yourself up. And the craziness is that we have to allow that because we have to add into our schedule the idea of rest, the idea of just stillness, the idea that you're not a machine and you actually need to not only decompress, but actually compartmentalize when you need to in order to keep your anxiety and your comparing yourself to others at bay. Now, I said that, and I'm sure many of people are like, oh no, girl, I don't compare myself to nobody. Well, good for you. You are an anomaly. I absolutely do not believe that that is a true statement, but I'm going to let you stand on it because that's what you're saying. But as I would tell you, in the world of worlds that we live in, there's always something and someone that you're comparing yourself to, or your success to, or your growth to. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's always going to be difficult if you're not really being honest with yourself, which is point number 2. Make sure that within all of what I'm saying, you're being honest with yourself. I literally remember buying the house that I'm in, and my whole identity of buying this house was because it had a beautiful garden tub, and I promised myself I'll get up and I'll take, a bath and and life got in the way, and these kids, and my God, this whole marriage thing and just work to be able to sustain all of these things got in the way, and I completely fell by the wayside. But now I absolutely make time for a bath every single night. Every single night. There's absolutely nothing about my life that will allow me to, one, continue to pay for something in my home that I don't utilize, especially something that I told myself that I wanted. And there's nothing more relaxing than just that little bit of time. And, some of us have tubs, bless you, who are just too small. Like myself, my tub is almost too big. I had to go get one of those, little runner things so that my butt could, sustain me from not going under the water. But you still want to be in a place that you find something that works for you. A bath is what works for me because that's just what I found that I needed. Whatever it is, you want to make time to work and to make time to rest. Resting is something that people who feel like they have to hustle or that they're hustling to get to where they're trying to be does not allow. So you don't really get to enjoy what you're working for quite as much because, truth be told, when you finally get there, you're like dog tired. And you're literally not really enjoying it because you have literally worked yourself to the point of you're literally going to sleep through most of your success. And then you're stressed because you're trying to figure out how you can sustain it. So then you beat yourself up again because you're not working. And if you catch what I'm saying, it's a perpetual cycle. That's just crazy. So do me the solid today and just really, really ask yourself, am I on a rest allowed schedule? Am I on a schedule that allows me to love me as much as I'm loving others or as much as I'm telling myself I love my purpose and my goals? Something that I will share with you that has just changed the trajectory of not only my success, but my appreciation for the success and the love I have for myself during the process. So I hope today some of that really resonated with you for you to understand that it is really key and really important for you to grasp this idea that beating yourself up because you feel like you have to be in a perpetual state of movement is crazy. Allow yourself the time. Know when the times are best. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you, your time and effort in joining me on the channel today. And you know the drill. If you have been with me this long, be so kind as to like, share, and comment. I would greatly appreciate all of that so that I can just get some feedback and make sure that we are engaging. I am really stressing the point this season of engagement. Feel free to say whatever. Don't really hold back, so to speak. Feel free to let me know what it is you think and how you feel about what I'm saying, but also give me some insight on some things that you may want to talk about. I'm really open to that, and I'd great to hear from you. I greatly enjoy hearing from you. That's what I was trying to say. So as always, remember to do 3 things. Live life authentic. It's crucially important. It is crucially identifiable in the solidification of what we're going to call success. And it is vital that you understand that you are important, and you alone hold the key to your happiness. As always, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.